Hola, clase. Hoy vamos a aprender cómo usar sustantivos en español. As you can imagine, it's really important that we learn how to use nouns in Spanish because pretty much everything we want to talk about involves people, places, or things. The first thing that you need to know is that Spanish nouns have number and gender, while English nouns only have number. When you see a noun in English, like book or house, you need to know whether it is being used in its singular or plural form. For example, the book and the house are in their singular forms. The books and the houses are in their plural forms. It's important for us to know the difference, right? Because when somebody's talking to us and they say the book, they're just referring to one book. When they say the books, they're referring to multiple books. And we need to know the difference so they know which books or which book they're talking about. In Spanish, it's a little bit different. When you see a noun in Spanish, like book or house, which are libro and casa, you need to know whether they are in their singular or plural form, just like in English, but you also need to know whether they are a masculine or feminine noun. So, el libro is a masculine noun and it is in its singular form, while los libros is a masculine noun in its plural form. La casa is a feminine noun, and right now it is in its singular form. But las casas is a feminine noun, and it's in its plural form. Here's some examples of masculine and feminine nouns in Spanish. So on the left, we have amigo, banco, libro, agua, supermercado, chico, hombre, and ojo. And you'll notice that most masculine nouns end in an O, but there are always going to be exceptions, like agua, for example, which does not end in an O. On the right-hand side, here's some examples of feminine nouns in Spanish. So we have amiga, casa, camisa, mujer, biblioteca, chica, luz, and clase. Feminine nouns usually end in an A, but again, there's always going to be exceptions. As you learn new nouns in Spanish, it's really important that you pay attention to whether they are a masculine noun or a feminine noun. Now, you might wonder how you're going to tell whether it's a masculine noun or a feminine noun. And it's really nice because on your vocabulary lists or in the dictionary, there's always going to be a word before your masculine and feminine nouns. So in the dictionary, before all of your masculine nouns, you're always going to see el. So el amigo, el banco, el agua, el chico. And whenever you see el, which means the, you'll know that that noun is a masculine noun. If you see la in front of a noun in the dictionary or on a vocabulary list, you'll know that it is a feminine noun. So like la amiga, la casa, la mujer, la clase. And you just want to memorize these so that you'll know whether these nouns are masculine or feminine whenever you decide to use them. The next thing that I want to teach you is how to make your nouns plural in Spanish. In English, we usually just add an S to the end of our noun when we want to make it plural. In Spanish, I'm going to teach you the 3 rules that you need to know for making nouns plural. The first rule is add S when the noun ends in a vowel. So a lot of Spanish nouns end in a vowel like O or A, and all you're going to do is add an S to the end to make it plural. So like libro becomes libros. Since it ends in a vowel, you just add S. The second rule is add ES when the noun ends in a consonant. So if you have mujer, mujer, woman, ends in an R, so you're going to add an ES to the end to make it plural. So it becomes mujeres. The third rule is when the noun ends in Z, change the Z to a C before adding ES. There's not many words that end in a Z in Spanish, but there are a few, and I'll show you some examples and how to make them plural. All right, so here's some examples. I'll show you how to do the first 5, and then I'll let you do the rest on your own. And then if you pause the video, on the next slide will show you the answers for these. So number 1, libro. It ends in a vowel, so we know that all we need to do is add an S to make libro plural. So it's libros, books. Number 2, pluma. It ends in a vowel and a, so all we have to do is add s, plumas. Pared, it ends in a consonant, so we need to add an es, right? Paredes, walls. Estudiante, it ends in a vowel, and like I said, a lot of them are going to end in vowels, so you just add an s, estudiantes. Now, number 5, this one is one of those rare nouns that end in a Z. So we really just need to get rid of that Z and change it to C before we add our ES. So we end up with peces, fish. We don't say fishes in English, so fish is as being plural. And you can do the rest, and then I'll show you the answers. All right, so here's the answers from the last slide. You can pause it if you need to take some time to look over it and see how you did, and then we'll move on. Now, like I said, it can be a little bit confusing to look at nouns in Spanish and try to figure out whether they're masculine or feminine. Agua ends in an A, so it's hard to tell whether it is masculine or feminine. Even though it ends in an A, it's actually masculine. And so because nouns can be a little bit confusing in Spanish, the articles are really helpful. So like I already said, whenever you see the article el, you're always going to know that you're dealing with a masculine noun. And in this case, it's a masculine singular noun. And when you see la, you're always going to know that you're dealing with a feminine noun that's singular. So then the other 2 articles that mean the in Spanish would be los and las. Los is for masculine nouns that are in their plural form, and las is for feminine nouns that are in their plural form. But remember, all of these mean the. El, la, los, las. You can also trust the article a or a. So if you want to say a book or a house, then you would use the article a. And in Spanish, un is your article for a whenever you're dealing with a masculine noun that's singular. Una, like una casa, is the article that you use to say for feminine nouns that are singular. Unos is for plural masculine nouns, and unas is for plural feminine nouns. And una, unos, unas means or a in Spanish. Although in English, we don't say houses, we end up saying some houses. So there's just a slight difference in translation there. Okay, clase, so for this last slide, I just have some ejemplos. You can look through at these nouns that are listed here, and you can see if you can figure out whether they are masculine or feminine, or whether they're singular or plural. So if you look at the first one, las semanas, you should be able to figure out that it's feminine and that it's also plural, all right? So it's saying the weeks. You can look through the rest of these. You can always ask me if you have questions about any of them, but that's all I have for you today. So adios, clase. Hasta mañana.